What's your favorite scary movie?
Be like, I'm dying.
If some guy came up to me and said, "Hey, big eyes," I'm like, "It's over and done. We're married now."
Someone in the movie, so I'm like, kiss. But
Oh God, what a sea of humanity.
Is somebody gotta match my freak? Welcome in to 52/1994, your live movie conversation podcast where we discuss movies from the year 1994. I'm your host, Cody. I'm joined by my co-host this week, Spencer. We haven't had, have we had you on in a while?
Yeah, you had me for River Wild, I believe.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I think it just seems like a long time, you know?
Also, I apologize if I disappear because apparently my internet is being real nice today. So
Cool. I love that for us and for everybody here. If this is your first time joining us, welcome in. We are happy for you to join us today. You're probably getting ads right now, which sucks for you. But just to give you a little bit of a heads up, we watch movies from the year 1994, 52 of them to be exact. We do a little extra credit on the side sometimes. That's coming up. So important movies released this year. Typically, we do them by like monthly categories. Like we had an Oscar month, and we had I don't even remember the other months. I just remember an action month was the last.
Jim Carrey month.
Jim Carrey month. And this month we're actually talking about famous directors that probably that have been recognized, that are big name directors that have been nominated for awards before, many awards, and we're discussing them. And this week we are talking about Ron Howard. So let's talk about the movie that we are going to be talking about, which is The Paper. Have you ever heard of this movie? Have you ever seen this movie, Spencer?
I had never heard of it, never seen it, but I saw, as my name would suggest, a pregnant Marissa Tomei, and I was, I'd say that'll do it.
That'll do it. I'd do it for a cheeseburger.
That's what I was going to say.
These are all inside jokes that nobody else will get. That'll do it.
I'd say that'll do it.
Another reason that I thought you would be a good choice for this movie, you picked it, but also you worked at a newspaper. And
Two, actually.
Two. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I actually worked in one. What was that? It was during college. I guess it was an internship, but I mean, it still counts. But yeah, so I worked at one in here in town, and then also one in Little Rock. So
okay. Was your experience with the newspaper anything like this experience?
So I didn't. Well, okay, there was like my experience in general, not necessarily the same. I did also work at a newspaper in college. Honestly, if I was to be completely honest, because of like the sections I was in my professional life versus college, the college newspaper may have been, more of a accurate depiction of this than anything, just because it was more of news, whereas when I was actually working in a newspaper, my professional career was like a really niche like spot in the newspaper. So it wasn't as like intense as like, hey, we got to find this story.
I also think it's interesting too, like watching them put together this newspaper is it's like right between analog and digital. I feel like
It's true.
They're setting plates, they're doing all these things. You see them moving stuff around and everything. I need 7 inches on this thing. Like,
Yeah,
it's pretty.
that surprisingly still exists.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and like the lingo. And then also when I was working at the paper in Little Rock, we actually had a chance to take a tour of our own printing press facility because it's kind of offsite, so not everybody gets to see it. But they still did plates. I was shocked. I was like, this seems like it shouldn't have to be done this way,
Yeah.
but here we are. It's still plates, and it's still running all through the facility, doing all 4 different colors. It's crazy. Like it hadn't changed as much as you'd think it has.
Yeah, you'd think, especially now with print just kind of being a more and more dead medium than ever, that people wouldn't do this. But I imagine there are still the big ones out there that are running like this. And this paper in particular, it's a daily newspaper. In college, we were doing like, I don't know, monthlies or whatever. Weeklies. I don't know if you were.
I was gonna say we did weekly. I know
We did weekly at my college too. And this one's about a daily newspaper. I believe this one is talking more about like the New York Post. Like the paper that they work for is supposed to be like the New York Post, and then the hoity-toity one is supposed to be like the Times.
Yeah.
So if you know anything about the New York Post, they're kind of known for their insane taglines, their titles, I mean, or their front page and stuff. So
Almost a tabloid.
Yeah, they're very tabloidy. And the Times is obviously, they cover the world. And then they also have like metro sections.
Claim to fame. I actually had an article published in the Washington Times. It's not the Post, but it's the Washington Times. I did have one posted in there from the Wire, so pretty excited about that.
Nice. Everybody check that out. Look for Spencer's.
You don't have to.
Spencer's byline. I'm sure it's
sure everybody will see it, right?
What was the subject? I gotta know.
Well, it was a little bit frustrating because they were like, hey, they told me, here's the story pitch that they gave to me, is this guy is planning to swim around Ireland, or around the island of Ireland. And I was like, oh shit, this sounds like really cool. Let me go cover it. And then I get to the guy's house who I'm interviewing, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be in the boat. It's actually my friend that lives in Ireland that's gonna swim around Ireland. I was like,
nice.
Oh, I guess this story is about a friend who's helping a guy swim around Ireland, but here we are.
So was it a feature? I guess, or
it was something.
Look for it, everybody.
It made it. It made it.
It made it. It made it. That's what matters, honestly.
It is.
But let's go ahead and talk about this movie. I know you watched it a little bit earlier in the week than I did, so maybe we need to like refresh you a little bit on this. But again, the name of this movie is called The Paper. It was released March 18th of 1994, directed by Ron Howard. If you don't know who Ron Howard is, you never watched Andy Griffith as a child. He's famous for playing Opie, but he also has a lot of movies under his belt. This was written by
Happy Days too, right?
Happy Days, very much so. And then he was like, I want to be a director. And I'm trying to think of like some of his more famous movies, like Apollo 13 comes to mind whenever I think of Ron Howard.
Well, his daughter too,
Bryce Dallas. I mean, he made her, so that's cool.
I mean, they've had a big impact in the industry.
Yeah, he actually he won an Academy Award for A Beautiful Mind when that came out.
Wait, he was in that or directed?
He directed it.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. He's the narrator in Arrested Development. He made a very little scene movie that's actually supposed to be really good called 13 Lives. But some of our listeners might know him best for his work on How the Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey. That's probably his most famous, impactful movie on that we would talk about. But this movie was written by Stephen and David Koepp, or Cope. I think it's Koepp. But David Koepp is most famous. We've done a couple of his movies before. Jurassic Park was one of his. Carlito's Way. He's a famous screenwriter. So pretty big deal. The cast of this movie includes Michael Keaton as Henry Hackett, Glenn Close as Alicia Clark, Marissa Tomei as Martha Hackett, Randy Quaid as McDougal, Robert Duvall is in here as Bernie White, and then some other people that are very famous that you might not, or that had way smaller roles in this movie. Jason Alexander's in this movie, Catherine O'Hara's in this movie, Jason Robards, Clint Howard, Ron Howard's brother, who's in every Ron Howard movie that there is. Bruce Altman's here, Siobhan Fallon, Jeffrey Owens, Spalding Gray, and a little appearance that I made. Did you catch the first time you watched?
I
Bob
think
Costas.
yes, I was gonna say I did catch that. I was like, no way. I didn't rewind it. I just kind of accepted it. I was like, I mean, they're at a media place. Like it would make sense if he was there.
Yeah, but Bob Costas, that's great. But he wasn't that the where was she at? Was she at like a ball, a gala thing? I guess that's true.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Whenever he was going to the bathroom in there, so we saw Bob Costa did.
We're so lucky and fortunate. Let me give you a synopsis of this movie. So Henry Hackett is an editor at the New York Sun. He's which is a tabloid paper facing financial cuts. His pregnant wife Martha pleads with him to get a more respectable job so he can spend more time with his family. Hackett is considering an offer from another paper with fewer hours and higher pay when he gets his hottest story in years. When this scoop leads to a burst of violence and a conflict with his new boss, Alicia, he faces a startling moment of truth. I don't know if that's fully accurate. I don't think she's his new boss. I think she's like the assistant editor in chief or something.
Yeah, that could have been written better.
Yeah, they're never really great when
Of
they're
course.
doing these. This movie had a budget of $20 million and a box office return of 48.4, so not a disaster at all, like some of the movies that we've watched. Rotten Tomatoes has this at a staggering 89%, which I think is so high for this
Whoa,
movie.
I did not
Yeah.
know that.
89% is like
I
critics
just saw
love
the
this.
IMDb score.
IMDb is more kind of around what I would think is a 6.7 out of 10. Letterboxd around the same thing, 3.4 out of 5. But there was only one bad review of like the top critics on Rotten Tomatoes, and it wasn't even that bad of a review. So Roger Ebert loved this movie, gave it a 3.5 stars out of 4. He said, watching the paper got me in touch all over again with how good it feels to work at the top of your form on a story you believe in on deadline. Here on the movie beat, everything is neatly scheduled. We don't cover a lot of crimes. Ace Ventura accepted is a joke that he put in. But I used to write real news on Deadline, and those were some of the happiest days of my life. This movie knows how that feels.
Happiest days of your life for doing that is interesting.
Yeah, no.
Damn.
And then Rick Grain said that this picture starts to fall in love with its subject, head over heels in love, until the acid drains from the wit and there's nothing left but sentimental ooze. That he was with the Globe and Mail. So a little bit of a pan there. And this movie was only nominated for one Academy Award, and that was for Best Original Song for Make Up Your Mind by Randy Newman.
I'm not sure I even recall that.
It's at the end. That's the thing that these movies did. We talk about it after we've watched all these.
Why did
they
do
always
that?
put them in the credits.
That drives me insane because that's
Yeah.
when I'm turning it off.
Well, that's why a lot of people hate the Best Original Song category at the Oscars, is because it's like it has nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah,
you could throw up a random song. Yeah,
put Beethoven at the end of a movie that doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's exactly that, and so that's why a lot of people don't like Best Original Song, and it's like an easy one for some people to get their award in. Not easy for me, but easy for some of these music artists that are going for that. Steven could do it. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, 89 is crazy. 89% is crazy to me because I think this movie is very kind of like middle of the road.
I get that. I do. And we'll talk about it later, I guess. I can see. Was 89 an audience score or was that a critic score?
That's the critic score.
I can still see it, especially with critics. Like the critic industry originated as kind of a print.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could see them falling in love with
them because they're like, and that was kind of me too. Like I may have given it a little bit of a higher score because I did work in that industry, and it kind of hits home a little bit more in some spots. And I think that's probably what the critics felt too. Like they were like, yeah, we've worked in this industry, we get it. And then, like I said, we'll talk about later how accurate or inaccurate that this might have been.
And honestly, to me, I know we'll jump into it when we talk about like specific scenes and stuff, but like to me, the best parts of this movie were in that newsroom. Like
Oh,
everything
yeah.
that was in there, I was like into. It felt very West Wing, except you put it in a newsroom. It just everything was fast paced, everything was quick. All these people were very and like the lingo that they were using. I loved that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Some
even
of the smaller, yeah, like you said, some of the smaller detailed parts are really nice. Like you said, the lingo they're using, like them just like talking to each other across the newsroom, saying stuff that would be said in a newsroom is, I don't know, it's good.
I don't know. I guess I'd never really embraced the newspaper life to where they said some of the things like art, like good art, when they're talking about pictures. We can't run it until we get the art back. So I
Hmm.
never even thought about that. They never talked about leads or anything like that. Which I thought
Even
was
in
a little
your college one?
slug. Well, they never. No, in this movie, they never
Oh,
said lead. They
oh,
never
okay,
said
okay, okay.
slug. They
No,
never
they
said
did say
like.
lead. They did say
Did they?
lead. Somebody said,
Okay.
"Give me a good lead." I did hear that because I
Okay.
almost wrote it down, but I didn't. And then the
I didn't hear
artwork,
slug. I didn't hear all
artwork
that
was a
stuff.
huge part of it.
But yeah, no, I never. It's just pictures, man. I don't know. I never heard of art
No, wait, you never heard it like
in
before this?
my
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
experience.
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember that being a big deal because at one point I was an editor and like I really needed some art for this, for a piece. And sometimes I'd get frustrated with art photographers. It's like, get your ass out there and get it.
I think I just wanted to be the McDougal always.
Which one was that?
McDougal?
Bruh, I'm
Uh,
terrible with
Randy
names.
Quaid. Randy Quaid's character.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, because
Uh,
I just in my notes I wrote down Uncle Eddie because I couldn't remember names.
McDougal. No,
Okay.
because I think he was a features writer, and that's all I ever wanted to do was write
Oh,
features and opinion
okay.
pieces. That's all I wanted to do.
Yeah,
I was like,
and
I don't like real news.
we get a really good quote in here about opinion pieces too.
Yeah. All right, so let's break down some of the scenes that we like the best from this movie. I wrote down 4 in particular. A lot of so I'll start with you. I imagine you might have one before I get to mine. So
I don't know. I don't think you will. I have 5 and mine start closer to the end. I will say, let me just go through a couple things in my notes if you don't mind.
yeah, go for it.
So let me take that out. So there was one part in the beginning that actually did drive me a little bit crazy. As kind of, I don't know, the editor ingrained in me. Somebody, I think it was pregnant Marissa Tomei said something about 4 a.m. in the morning. I was like, you don't need to say morning or a.m. One of them.
It's
Lose
just
one of them.
redundant.
Yeah. I was like, oh,
4
I'm
a.m.
totally
in
into
the
this
morning.
movie now. And then at one point, and I'll save this comment for later. At one point, I noticed we got I don't know if you'd call it a cameo because he does have a small role for Henry Rowan Gardner's stepdad.
Oh,
So,
you're talking about Bruce Altman is that
yeah,
character.
yeah.
Yeah, Carl.
So I was like, hey, I felt like Leo DiCaprio, Hey.
Like that guy.
And then we got Mrs. McAllister and Stanley Yelnats' mom.
Oh
So
yeah, I forgot Siobhan Fallon is Stanley Yelnats's mom.
yeah. So I was like, dude, this is like a hell of a cast.
There's a lot of
But
people and like people in very very small roles in this
that's what
movie.
I was like
Um
you're better than that.
Because I remember like, when we were talking about it last week, I pointed somebody out to you, and you were like, "I don't even know who that character is." And
Mm-mm.
he doesn't have a big part in it. It's Jeffrey Owens, who is probably most famous from the Cosby Show, for being Elvin in the Cosby Show. And I wanted him to have a much bigger part, but I was like, that guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that guy. And I love the secretary of Henry. She's in every. I think she's like the chief from Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. I have her written down somewhere in this. I really loved her. I thought I think she worked with Michael Keaton's character really well in the like the little sparring that they did back and forth with each other. So I feel bad about not knowing her name right now.
I mean, what an unexpectedly good cast, though.
Oh yeah, this was a great cast, and I honestly had trouble whenever we got down to like trying to think about people that could be in this in 1994, like. And how cool this would be in 2024 is to be like a great way to just throw tons of people in this movie. It's like, and I know this is topical because it's out right now, but like Twisters, and you think about the original Twister movie and how many people were just in the background that were given like 10 lines total. Philip Seymour Hoffman or Alan Ruck were in those movies in the background, and I mean, that would just be cool to have a lot of young actors in this kind of movie, delivering like 10 lines, but really having an impact and showing off. So
yeah,
I like that.
I totally agree. And before we get into like the scenes in like specifics, I will say in general, I thought overall for this movie, like the hostility within the newsroom was good and accurate. Like, I mean, it gets intense in there. And then I thought the pacing too was really good. So I think like an Uncut Gems, but in the newsroom, I could see something like that being really, really good. And that it didn't quite, match Uncut Gems pace or anything, but it still had like a good newsroom pace, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was not as stressful as Uncut Gems, not as anxiety-inducing as Uncut Gems. Because I don't know if it was like the music behind it, like the score or something that made it a little bit more playful. But yeah, you could have, if you throw this in like a David Fincher movie, like a Social Network atmosphere, this becomes a completely different movie.
Oh yeah.
And a way more serious movie, like I don't even know, like The Post. I don't know if you've watched The Post or.
I haven't. I saw that when I was doing some research looking for good things to pair with it. That came up, and I was like, I'm shocked I hadn't seen that, but I think I need to watch it.
Or Spotlight. I think you've probably seen Spotlight, right?
Yeah, that one for sure.
Yeah, Spotlight, like a way more serious version of this.
Yeah,
is Spotlight. I love Spotlight. I love a good newspaper movie.
Yeah.
Period. I haven't even had the experience of working in a newspaper, but I love, like, I grew up loving print media and wanting to do this, and like I said, I always wanted to be a features writer or a opinion writer or critic too. And so it sorry, got a text message.
No, you're good. You're good. I feel like this is a good movie to watch, like right now, though, because like you said, it's a dying medium. As little as everybody wants to, recognize that that's the fact. It is. It's going away. You see a lot of newspapers folding, especially the smaller ones being bought up by bigger corporate conglomerates and then getting cut. And so I think this is really good. Before newspapers go away altogether, I think this is a good watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. It's kind of sad. I do think that like some of those like smaller, like it feels like regionally newspapers are going away, but like small towns are going to be fine, I think, like with their newspaper, because how else are you going to get your like local?
Yeah. It's like the middle class is just.
Yeah, I think about like my hometown newspapers and I'm like, that thing's never going away.
I get it.
There's just no way. Because people like my parents exist and will continue to exist. So it's one of those things. Anyway, I really like, speaking of kind of the newsroom part of it, my first scene in this movie is when like Henry gets to the office. Like we spend some time, we have that first opening scene where the kids, find the dead body or whatever. And then we also have like the Marissa Tomei introduction with her belly and everything that's going on there, which I'll get to. I got you. But no, I think the first like great scene in this movie is when Henry gets to the office. It is so fast. It is so frenetic. It is so like just over the top. Everybody's talking to him all at once. There are people talking over one another. You've got one guy that's begging for a new chair. You've got another person that's like, what's the headline? Oh, we missed out on this headline. We suck. And we're these people. Oh, press is already running. What is going? Yeah. all that stuff that happens in that. You get introduced to the newsroom essentially in that scene, and I really love it. The only thing that we don't get in that scene is our introduction to Alicia right away, the Glenn Close character, but we do end up getting that once they get their first like meeting, which I think is a very funny meeting.
Yeah, when I saw that scene, I thought this is going to be a pretty accurate, depiction of the industry, because it was, open space, which I loathe. I hate open concept, like desks and stuff in an office. I get it for a newspaper because, I mean, you're always talking to other people. You have to have it. But them having those, clunky wooden desks, they had papers everywhere. Like everybody it's so disorganized looking, even though like it is organized, but it's just organized chaos. And I was like, okay, yeah, they're gonna hit the nail on the head on this one.
Yeah, it did remind me. Where our mutual friend brought me into the newsroom a couple times of the Democrat Gazette in Little Rock, and it was a little bit like that. It is that open floor concept where everybody just has these little cubicle desks with their low walls, and everybody can just yell at everybody across the way from that. So,
my best scene, and so stop me if you have some before this, but it's not until the second half of the movie, to be completely honest, and not even, it's probably the last third of the movie where I start. So it's quite the opposite of River Wild as far as best scenes go. That's not to say the movie's not good. It's just that's kind
the
of
more
what I had in my
memorable
mind.
stuff I think hits in those parts, because that's when it starts ramping up. Like because you don't find out until halfway through. They're like, oh, we're going to concentrate on this story, and we're really going to hammer it home, and you figure out what they're trying to do. I think this movie does play a little bit too much with the Henry character and his life, and instead of the story, which is fine. But I did want to mention McDougal shooting up the office. That was my next scene. Was everybody is bothering Henry. Marissa Tomei has come in. She's just wildly pregnant, and she's just trying to talk to her husband, but she also is like yearning to get involved in the stories, and she wants to help out because she also worked at the paper, which I thought was an interesting piece for her in this movie. And actually, I liked that. Whereas, like, she's like, it's easy to cast off the wife in these situations. And so she's like, oh, she's pregnant. They have marital problems because he's always gone. But she has this like desire to want to be there.
That was cool.
Yeah, I liked that element to her character. But that whole scene where everybody's talking to Henry, trying to get an answer from Henry, and McDougal just shoots the gun that he has into a stack of newspapers, which he set up, which I liked, to get everybody out of the office so he could talk to his wife. I really liked that.
Yeah, he said, let Marty talk to her husband, please.
Randy Quaid is just awesome in the 90s, I think.
Dude,
like, Independence Day, this movie, like, he's great. Bye Bye Love was one of my favorite movies growing up. It's about 3 divorced dads that are all best friends with each other.
Oh, that sounds great.
Oh, I love that movie. It's not great, but it's Randy Quaid's amazing in it.
Look, so my first exposure to Randy Quaid was, of course, Christmas Vacation. So I didn't know him as being like this cool dude until I saw him in other things. And I was like, this dude fucks. Like because in Christmas Vacation, he was gross. In all the vacation movies, he's that gross uncle. But then in stuff like this, like he's the guy people want to be.
Yeah, like I will get to it, but whenever we come to like favorite character, McDougal's my favorite character.
Dude, I get it.
I love this guy. And I think Vacation and Christmas Vacation and all that stuff kind of give us a view of Randy Quaid that is like, he is a comic actor, and that's pretty much like what we grew up with him doing. And he's silly in Independence Day too, but he's also really good at these like kind of dramedy roles. Like he's really good in these where he's kind of skirting the line. And I think he had a really good 90s.
Was he in Kingpin?
He is in Kingpin. Yeah, he's
Okay.
Ishmael in Kingpin. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, I was gonna say I thought there was a bowling movie I was trying to think of with him. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yeah. Kingpin, not to be confused with, which came out at the same time as Big Lebowski, I think, or around
I
the
mean
same time. Check.
studios.
Yeah, they're always putting out stuff like that. But he kind of towed this line of being in these comedy movies. And then I kind of think he just kind of fell into I'm going to be Cousin Eddie for the rest of my
Yeah.
life, which is fine too. He's in our favorite movie, Grind.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is. He's a clown dad.
He's Clown Dad. That's right. Which I hope I aspire to be someday.
That would be nice. I already am one. So
You, I didn't say it. You said it. I think you're right though, because my next two scenes are at the very end of this movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what do you got?
Wow, I just looked at the bottom of mine, and that is actually earlier. There's a couple that I have earlier. I just got them in a really whack order. So I guess I'll start with the scene and just the general delusion as well that Catherine O'Hara's character put in Marty's head whenever they're having their like brunch or whatever together, and she's like drinking super heavily and is basically like, my husband, basically is just the shit dad, and then Marty just runs with it and asks Henry about the doubles partners tennis analogy and stuff like that. And him saying he'd be happy for his doubles partner throws her off because she's got all these pregnancy hormones. She's running with Catherine O'Hara's stuff. And I just thought, like, that's so accurate. Like, because, pregnancy causes some crazy emotions. So I thought that was really cool.
I love
that dynamic.
I love when she asks him, it's like the crazy thing, like, if you had to choose between me and the sun and somebody's going to kill one of them, like, who are you going to choose? He's like, that's the dumbest fucking question you could have asked me. Of course I'm going to choose you.
Yeah,
idiot. Like,
and I don't know. I just thought that tracked really well, like, for being a first-time parent, because you do be thinking all these crazy things, and you're just like, what if, like, oh, did we fuck up?
And then rightfully so, though, too, because, I mean, the guy's not getting in until 4 a.m. in the morning.
Come on now.
Rightfully so. She's got to, and it's so unique too to like want to be. I feel bad for Marissa Tomei's character. Not only is she 9 months pregnant in this movie and sweating the entire, everybody's sweating, and there's so much sweating in this movie, but miserable. But like her desire to want to be back in the newsroom so bad. I actually think. Okay, Lissa said he never actually says he would choose her over the sun. He just says it's a ridiculous question.
Wait, when you say the sun, you mean the newspaper or the kid?
The newspaper.
Oh, okay. Or
that's true. He never does say it. But I think too that, like, when he says that's such a ridiculous question, I don't think he's trying to manipulate her or give her the runaround on this.
Is this supposed to be a double question though?
I don't know.
Like, choose me or the sun, like me or the paper, and then also if I was having complications in pregnancy, choose me or the sun.
I don't know. Is there a child? Is there a child a boy? I thought
it was guaranteed. Yeah. I have it written down that it was.
Oh, maybe we just discovered something.
Okay.
Let's give him credit. Let's just give him credit. He would choose Marissa Tomei over the newspaper, I think.
Well, who wouldn't?
You're right. The Son. Yeah.
I'm telling
you.
Father,
Son, and the Holy Ghost is Robert Duvall's character.
Oh.
I don't think that this movie is that deep, Spencer, but I like where you're going with it.
I was trying.
No, I think it's good. I love to look into it.
I give Ron Howard a little more credit than maybe he deserves.
Yeah, I mean this comes from the people that wrote Jurassic Park, one of the greatest movies ever made. Like, give them some.
You like to say that about a lot of movies. So.
There are a lot of great movies that have been made.
There are.
Give me a break.
And and this is one that you're gonna have to help me out on, because I wrote this down and I've kind of forgotten a little bit since then. So the scene I have says Henry talking to Paul on whether he did or did not take his stuff off his desk.
Oh, that is a really good scene though, because that is that's after he shoots McDougal shoots up the place, but and I have it in my quotes too. This Henry scene, but Paul Bladden calling Henry after he's already offered him the job. He's given him the job at the Sentinel, and he's like, "You took this lead, and you're not going to have a job at the Sentinel." Is pretty great because at that point it sends Henry into like fuck it mode. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to burn this place down, and we're going to have we're going to have that story no matter what. We're not going to do what we honestly should do. And Alicia says it, I think, at one point. It's like we run the story now and then we correct it the next day, which is absolutely what a newspaper would do.
Oh yeah, because I think I've got that quote down too, because that pissed me off because it's super accurate as to what a newspaper would do.
100%. You just run the correction. I know everybody wants to be right, but once those presses start rolling and you start having to pay people and you're also losing money on all the things that you've already printed, papers don't like to lose money. They're already doing that well enough on their own. So yeah, they're going to run that story no matter what.
And speaking of presses, that is that's the first scene I have written up here is whenever, because I like to type out stuff when I'm watching it. So I put, oh shit, the press is running. and I put Uncle Eddie making him say, stop the presses.
I fucking loved it. I fist pumped at that part.
I was super excited because I thought at first I was like, they're just going to say stop the presses and I'm going to be so mad because it's going to be so cheesy. But the fact that they acknowledged the cheese was just so good.
No, I loved it. I loved that part of it.
And then him interrupting the guy pooping made me laugh so hard because also that screenshot's on IMDb. As I was scrolling through the photos, I was dying.
I do love that. That's so he could get the keys so he can actually stop the presses, right? Yeah. I love that.
Which is an inaccuracy apparently.
Oh yeah.
You don't need keys because if somebody got like their arm or something stuck in
you would need
there's stop buttons everywhere.
Yeah. I had the cop getting the cop quote too was interesting. It's before the stop the presses.
Oh
scene.
yeah.
But where they have to sneak into the police station and they basically like take that guy into what is a terrible looking bathroom. I don't know if anybody remembers that part of this movie, but it is the most disgusting locker room bathroom that they could find. And if it's like a cop locker room, because it is a locker room because it has showers and stuff in it, but it is nasty looking. So gross. But I really like that. And them basically manipulating that cop into giving them the quote. And this is where I like this movie. I do. But some of my problems start to arise with this movie because of like they pretend to care about the story and they don't care about the story. They care about being right. They don't care about this helping people.
Yeah, no, I absolutely get that, and I've got that later on as well. Not as deep as you do, like emotionally or anything. Mine is in more of like movie sense and what I want sense. But yeah, no, I definitely see where you're coming from with that because, but at the same time, it's kind of something that journalists are taught is to like take all emotions as like logic only through the whole thing, which sucks. I mean, but I guess that technically, if you want to get into it, they're just kind of doing their job and doing what they were taught.
Yeah, I get it. Do you ever get in a fist fight with any of your bosses at the paper?
No. I wanted.
Did you ever want to? Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, I want to get in fist fights with you at work sometimes.
Did you ever like, Amanda, why?
Right, like, why are you doing this? No, I don't think I ever got into. I'm trying to make sure to go back all the way to like college because if I did, it would have been then.
can't
'cause
believe you
there's
said you want to fist fight me. That's very inappropriate.
okay, I don't want to fist. I'd fist fight you
We're
just for the funsies.
equal. We're
Yeah,
equals, man. I'm
we'll,
not
we'll see
trying to
about
ruin
that.
your day.
But yeah, so I didn't get into any fist fight. I might have like yelled at someone or like cursed at them, but that's just normal.
Yeah. I thought the fist fight was both funny and awkward at the same
Oh,
time.
100%. Yeah, I would skew more toward the awkward side, to be honest. It
It
wasn't my favorite scene.
No, it was very slow too, which I think lent to the funniness of it,
Yeah,
the comedy
it
of it,
was
but it was
so
very
weird.
weird.
Yeah. I think weird is the right word for that.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't feel that bad for
No,
either person in
not
it
at all,
though.
because I was like, nobody's hurting anybody.
No, and they just had bloody. Yeah, I don't know. They were just.
One scene that I really liked, and I think it was just a good depiction of like some mental health things sometimes, was when they're ordering food and like Henry gets super overstimulated, like everybody's talking at once. You know what I'm talking about? Is he with his wife at that point?
Is that in the scene where he shoots the? No, that's got to be after, right?
I can't. I don't
I know
remember.
what you're talking about.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember where that is
Oh,
in place.
I skipped one anyway. But yeah, I can't remember either. But for some reason, I do remember them like depicting the overstimulation really well.
And I've been there, like,
Okay,
and
that's what I
I've seen
thought.
people, and that's when he's at the dinner with his wife and parents. Oh yeah, and then he says, "I gotta put the paper to bed."
Yeah, that's right.
So see you later. I've been there, man.
Oh
Everything
yeah, that's what
just
I'm
too
saying.
much, and
Yeah,
that's how they always depict it. But I think they depict it that way for a reason. Like that's kind of how it goes. Like
it
it's just too
is.
much, and then
That,
I wish there was like a quiet, like like a
yeah.
silence that happens. That doesn't happen for me.
Well,
It's
yeah, I feel the way Henry felt every day in my house. So it's
you just got to put the
da, da, da.
you just got to put the paper to bed.
And that just means me going to take a shit.
Oh yeah.
Gotta put the paper to use.
Got to read the paper.
Yep, exactly.
What's your next scene?
I think this is my last one, and it is
The bar.
It's kind of another personal one. Just because of my stage in life. It's his wife going through a high risk labor. And I just thought that was a really powerful scene. I don't know if it was a super rapid transition or if it was gradual or what, but I thought it going from kind of like a fun, lighthearted movie into like, oh, like she's really in a serious situation giving birth here, I thought was kind of harrowing, and kind of lended itself to the hecticness of somebody working in a newspaper, because they're already 24/7 at work, just hectic, and then his wife is given labor in the same way, like that would happen to him.
And do you think that obviously we don't get to learn anything about this, but like her being under stress because of Henry, because of like worrying about, she's been set up this whole time to, after her discussion with Catherine O'Hara's character, to like worry completely that her life is going to just be awful after she has this child and an absent husband and all this. Does that lend to her having such a pregnancy like this? Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it could cause her high blood pressure. Yeah, you're right. And then in that scene too, I know the doctor didn't tell her to stop crying. Like, it was a background quote, but he was like, "Oh, it wasn't like a back. It was like, I mean, you could hear it. He said, he's like, just stop crying." I was like, bro.
Yeah, you can't tell. You can't tell somebody.
You can't do that.
Yeah. And this goes on at the same time as my last scene, which is the bar scene, where McDougal gets confronted by Sandusky and shots are fired, and Jason Alexander shoots Alicia through the wall. And she takes it like a champ,
Oh yeah.
she gets shot through, and she's in the hospital along with him.
Who shot
But she's,
McDougal?
huh?
Or not McDougal. Who shot Sandusky?
Alicia did, or not?
That's
No,
right,
sorry,
okay.
no, nobody shot Sandusky.
He didn't get shot.
Sandusky shot Alicia.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought he got shot back. My bad.
No. He's fine and gonna go to jail for shooting somebody. But yeah, shoots through the wall, and so and the best part of, like, I kind of wish the pregnancy, like the birth scene wasn't a part of it, but because I actually kind of liked the Alicia trying to, like, redeem herself essentially, and
I did like that.
like
Yeah.
being stopped, like her being rolled through the hospital and like grabbing at payphones, trying to get a hold of Chuck or whoever the guy is that stops the
Yeah.
presses to replate and everything. I kind of liked that part of it, but I really didn't like the birth stuff. And I, that's nothing against
Yeah. No.
that happening or anything like that, but I do think that it was kind of just out of nowhere.
Well,
Not out of nowhere in the sense that she wasn't pregnant.
Yeah, it did give the film like a confusing direction a little bit, because like at one point I put this film is about the industry, yes, but it's also about fatherhood and family. So it's like, I think they probably, if they wanted, to do a little bit better, they might have should have leaned more into one than the other. But I mean, it is what it is.
It doesn't give Henry like a chance to a choice to be a better person and like to say no to all these things, because he's still so obsessed with the story. And then, like, it would have been better to me, more impactful, if he would have said, like, fuck it, in the middle of like gathering all this, I need to be with my wife. Because that's the most important thing to me right now. Fuck this paper, fuck this story, fuck all this. Like, I kind of wish it would have went that direction.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
But everybody, like, I'm not saying it's again, not a bad movie. I love the paper part of this stuff more than I love like the background. Like, I don't need to know everybody's life, but
yeah, I did. I did like the scene where, and this is where I had that he put a son. I don't know if I assumed that or if it was in there or what, but I put him seeing his son for the first time. Like, just gave me the feels. But again, that's a personal thing. Not everybody watching this is a father.
True.
So, some people are going to react differently in scenes than others. And I don't know where Ron Howard was at this stage in his life, but I don't think he was a father.
He might have been. Yeah, I think he was definitely a father at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, Bryce Dallas is like a few years older than me.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well,
So
fair enough.
I
Then
think he's
maybe
been a
that's
father a couple times.
Maybe that was kind of in the back of his mind whenever he was doing that part.
Yeah. And I think that people like this, I just watched the Jim Henson documentary a couple, maybe a month ago or a few weeks back, but anything like the biggest thing about like some of these people in like the entertainment industry or people in this kind of industry too, is like that they are those absent fathers. They're not at home. And the only way that their children, and we see that again, we see that with, we haven't even talked about it that much, but the Bernie character who, is going through it with like his daughter. His daughter won't even speak to him anymore because of his career, and kind of putting her to the side. Like she said, I can't hate you. I don't even know you, which I thought was a very profound, like,
I had that in one of my quotes.
But I forgot, like I said, because we haven't even been talking about that Bernie character at all. That is probably a little bit more impactful once you look at it, take a step back and be like, okay, this is fatherhood. This is looking at the family dynamic here. And this is a guy that missed out on his. And if it's kind of like It's a Wonderful Life thing, like if you don't take the chances now, you're not going to be able to repair this down the line. So.
Yeah. And we'll definitely talk about Bernie.
Yeah, let's talk about Bernie. Any other scenes that stuck out to you? That was my last one. So.
Yeah, that's all I've got as well.
All right, who is your favorite character, or is there a scene stealer?
Bernie is actually my favorite character.
Nice. So, I love Robert Duvall. So
me too. Yeah, and just like I feel like he got the best material written for him. Because I think a lot of my quotes are from him, even though he's in the movie a good bit, but he's obviously not, Henry, Marissa Tomei, or Alicia. But I don't know. I still think he got most of the good quotes. And then as my scene stealer, I've got and I don't even have a name. It just says paranoid health issue guy.
Phil?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Because that's the guy that asked for a new chair.
Yeah.
He's he's always worried about his health. He's worried about people covering his sneezes and all that.
Yeah, no, I love that guy. And I love that, but in the middle of it, he kind of ends his arc. He's like, here's the $600 bill. Your problem now. Like, I'm over it. And then he gets somebody steals his chair, like 10 minutes later, and that was great.
Almost the Office Space, where's my stapler kind of guy.
Yes, yeah. I liked McDougal's my favorite character. Obviously, he's not one of the main characters of this, but he was my favorite. I don't know. I just really like this character. And then I also want to give a little shout out to Robin, the terrible photographer.
Yes, dude. She played that so well.
I loved her so much. And
at one point,
that they referred to her as a 14-year-old.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. At one point, Alicia's like, what? She's 14.
It's so good.
Gosh, she did really, really well being like awkward and trying to get that shot and everything. Like in the movie for maybe like 4 or 5 minutes and just.
Yeah. I knew she I knew what was going to happen with her character and everything. It was kind of predictable and everything, but no, I really liked her brief time in this movie. I also really liked the guy from the Sentinel. I thought he played up his role pretty well too. Paul Bladden. Like, I really liked him, and like being very I don't know, stuck up and snobby, working for the Sentinel and trashing his paper. I liked it. And then I liked his conversation with Michael Keaton's character on the phone. That was good too. So
yeah.
Also, did Catherine O'Hara's character seem like way too old, way older than she should have been?
Maybe. I don't know. She was in there so little, I kind of ignored it.
I was like, man, you seem like you're 50 or 60 years old, but you are 40 in this, and it's rough. And maybe that plays to her character too, being a unhappy wife and mother.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and maybe that kind of went into Marty's image too. Like, oh, I'm a mother. I'm gonna age like really rapidly.
It's true. Well, let's talk about some of these quotes that we got, because I have a lot of them.
Me too.
Go for it.
It's gonna be a quote fest. I'm sure you got this one. We'll just trade off. We'll do one and one. I said, and this was Marty. She said, "Say hi to everyone for me except Alicia. Who else do I hate?"
I don't have that one.
You didn't? Okay.
My first, I wanted to talk. I was talking about Paul Bladden and his conversation with Henry, where Paul Bladden's on the phone with him. He says, "I hope you're satisfied, asshole. You just blew your chance to cover the world." And Henry responds with, "Really? Well, guess fucking what? I don't really fucking care. You want to know fucking why? Because I don't fucking live in the fucking world. I live in fucking New York City. So go fuck yourself." And I usually hate when people beat off to like being from New York City and being like super proud of it and everything. But I really like that section.
that one was. I can't believe I didn't write that one down. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
Go for it.
That was really good. This one, just because it was like somewhat topical, said Donald Trump jumped off a building, landed right on Madonna.
Ah, the 90s.
Yeah.
Why don't you just pour a battery acid down your throat? No caffeine.
That was one?
That was one of my quotes.
So that was a quote in this movie?
Yeah. His wife said, because he's like obsessed with Coca-Cola. He's always drinking the Coca-Colas. And the first thing he does in the morning is grab a Coke and starts drinking it. And she says, "Why don't you just pour battery acid down your throat?" And he says, "No caffeine."
Oh, yeah. You're right. Okay. So my next one, it is a quote, but it's also just like, it's almost like a what the fuck. But in the like news report of I think they were doing the carjacking or whatever they said, and they called him a racial slur, and the racial slur was whitey.
Whitey,
I was like,
Whitey or Ghost. I was like,
Yeah.
none of those are racial slurs.
yeah. It's like, do you know what that means? Like, if it was a slur, you wouldn't be saying it aloud.
Mm-mm. Whitey. Yeah, that was strange. Phil, you were talking about Phil earlier. He was like, Jesus, Bernie, come on with the smoke. You know the doctor found nicotine in my urine again.
Yes.
And then Bernie said probably my favorite line in the movie, which was, then keep your dick out of my ashtray.
I think I rewound that like 2 or 3 times because I was like, no, he didn't say that, and I was trying to type it as he was saying it.
Definitely said
I
that.
think you're right. That may have been the best line.
Yeah.
Damn.
Next.
I can't believe I just said this about the Coke thing because my next line is about Coke, and I just kind of forgot. But it's don't put this on my desk until I've had at least 3 Cokes. 3 Cokes, then a picture. That's the rule.
Love that. I also have a Henry one. A clipboard and a confident wave will get you into any building in the world.
That's true.
It's very true. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. This one, unfortunately, resonated to me for a couple days this last week, and it was Henry saying, sometimes you can just smell a horrendously shitty day on the way, can't you?
Yeah.
It's like, you sure can.
Henry talking to McDougal says, when did you get so paranoid? And then McDougal says, when they started plotting against me.
That is a good one.
That's probably my second favorite line.
That's good. That's nice and subtle.
Yeah. They started
that
plotting against me.
Here I got a lot of Bernies in a row.
Yeah, go for it.
This one, and I'll just do one right now. He said, I hate columnists. Why do I have all these columnists? I got political columnists, guest columnists, celebrity columnists. The only thing I don't have is a dead columnist, and that's the kind I could really use. We reek of opinions, Harry. You know what every columnist of this paper needs to do is shut the fuck up.
And that's what I wanted to be.
I don't know. Bernie rocks. So
Bernie does rock.
Anything he says, I'm just like, yeah, you go.
I'll give you a Bernie one.
Oh.
The problem with being my age is everyone thinks you're a father figure, but you're really just the same asshole you always were.
That is a good one.
That's a good
Damn,
one.
dude, I'm telling you, Bernie was good. Bernie rocked. He said, I got I'm gonna do 2 because this next one's pretty small. Bernie says, I got a prostate the size of a bagel. And I know you've got something to say to that. Bernie also says, you do have a problem, Henry, but it's your problem. And I was like, oh, shit, like, I don't know. I feel like that's a cool thing to learn how to say in the office. Like, sometimes it is somebody else's problem.
Yeah. What's he got up his ass? A bagel.
I knew it. I knew it because I got that one too. Because that one was a really good line.
I don't even have that one written down. I just remembered it.
Oh, you don't? Yeah. Oh,
wow. I think I already mentioned this one earlier when I was talking about Alicia Glenn Close's characters, that she says, we taint them today, we make them look good on Saturday, everybody's happy. And that, I think that is such a true quote from a newspaper. We already talked about that, covered that.
Yeah, I think I thought I wrote that down, but somehow I didn't. I guess in a sense I did. Whenever she said, like, we only had to be right for a day, like, it's crazy because, like, I don't know, when she said that, I was like, that is kind of like the high brass of the newspaper and how they think. Like, that one was super real.
Now it's like we've got 2 stories, and they think of it in a way. It's like, I've got 2 stories, I've got 2 headlines for the next 2 days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. Yeah, really good point.
Oh, they think they've got them. Oh, they've got the wrong guys. That's 2 headlines right in a row. Mm-hmm. So now they've screwed themselves for the next day. Now they got to come up with a good one. One thing I wrote down was Martha, and every time she sneezed in the movie, she made because there's a lot of sneezing in this movie, but Martha sneezed and she says bladder control. You don't miss it until it's gone. And I think I lost Spencer because he's just frozen in a very pensive way. He's thinking about it. There he is. We got him back now. No, that's okay. You froze in a good spot, though. I'll tell you that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you were like thinking. It was really nice. I just did the bladder control. You don't miss it until it's gone. Line from Martha. Every time she sneezes in the movie, you know that she's peeing herself. And I was like, that's accurate. That's nice.
Yeah. Oh, I finally did find What If They're Innocent? Like we tamed them today. I did find that one. One of them I have is from God, I don't remember who said it. I think it was from Henry. The people we cover, we move in their world, but it's their world. You can't live like that, Alicia. You'll never keep up. Now, if you try to make this job about the money, you'll be nothing but miserable because we don't get the money. Never have, never will. It was Bernie, actually. Okay. And then this one made me laugh really hard. And I think this one may have been from Henry just because it made me laugh because it made no sense to me. And maybe you can make it make sense, but I don't think it does. And I don't think it's supposed to. But he says, if anybody pushes their skin together, it bunches up. That's why it's called skin.
Oh, that's Carl.
Oh, okay.
That's Carl. He's saying that to Alicia because Alicia's like in the mirror looking at herself thinking that she's old.
That's definitely supposed to be nonsense, right? Because that's why it's called skin.
Yeah, that's a dumb line.
Okay. No, it's a funny line, and it's my funny line, humor, because I say that all the time because sometimes I'll say to my mom, like, she'll be like, oh, this coffee's hot. And I'll say, yeah, of course it's hot. That's why it's called coffee. And it's so dumb. Maybe I did. Thanks, Ryan.
Did you like here's another unsung hero. I love the person that's doing the world news for the Sun, because she always comes with like the ridiculous things, like and of course they only cover things if like New York people are involved. This person's from Long Island.
Turns out it wasn't.
Yeah, but one time she says, "Oh, Henry, this might interest you. The mother in Wales in the Ukraine had triplets," and he said, "She told me she was on the pill."
I have that one written down too because that one was really good.
Go ahead. You need more? I've got like 3 or 4 more.
Okay, well, I'm so sorry, but what is Uncle Eddie's character's name again?
McDougal.
That's this. This one's from McDougal. He said, hey, do you remember Sedona Savings and Loan went under about 6 months ago? We did a big piece on them. And then McDougal says, I don't read this newspaper.
Very funny. I've got a McDougal one. It's after Alicia gets shot and she keeps saying like a bullet came out of the wall. Why did the bullet come out of the wall? And McDougal says to get to the other side, which I thought was really funny.
That one was good. I do have that quote you said earlier. I think it was from Bernie's daughter. She said, I don't know you enough to hate you. Yeah, I had that one as well. Man. And then, God, I can't remember where they were, to be completely honest. I think Alicia was talking to the publisher or whatever, and the guy said, Alicia, I'm gay. And then he said, Alicia, I'm kidding. It's like, yeah, good joke, guy.
Wild. Weird. Just like a weird thing in there.
Yeah.
Bernie said Nazis are a barrel of laughs, which I thought.
I almost wrote that one down. I think that was pretty early, too.
Yeah, that's very early. Nazis, they're a barrel of laughs.
The last one I have, I think I might need you to help me on again. Because I think I've forgotten it. The quote is good, but I don't remember when he said it. So somebody said, you'd say fuck you to your wife?
I don't remember that.
Oh, no. I got to rewatch the
Wait,
movie
no,
then.
I do. I know you'd say fuck you to your wife. That was Henry saying that.
To
who is he saying?
Bernie? No, I can't remember.
Maybe chat can help out with that one a little bit. My last
somebody
one
said I'd say fuck you, and he'd say you'd say fuck you to your wife.
Your wife, yeah. My last one I had was Henry saying, "What do you do after you step over bodies?" And Alicia says, "I have a cigarette and go to sleep." I was like,
That
"Yeah,
was a good one. That was a
she's
cold
kind of a
line.
badass." Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a little bit of a badass.
Eh.
Yeah, if anybody knows that you said fuck you to your wife, put it in the chat. I don't remember it. All right, biggest laugh, cry, scare, or thrill?
So we've already covered this, but I've got McDougal firing off around in the newsroom
Yeah, that's pretty
saying,
great.
"Let my doctor husband, please."
And anything else?
No, that's it.
I think that maybe this is a what the fuck thing, but Marissa Tomei's pregnant belly is the worst thing I've ever seen ever.
I
That thing
did
is
not pay that close of attention.
that thing is laughably just awful. She's so huge and just like just walking
Just like
around.
tiny everywhere else.
Yeah, just it doesn't work for me. It's especially in that first scene. I think just when she's. I mean, when we first meet her and everything, it looks bad.
It did catch me off guard. I'll give you that.
Jesus,
because like they zoomed out, and because I think they started with like a head up shot, and she looked normal, and then they zoomed out. It's like not proportional.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit. I've never been pregnant. I just have a big belly. So and I was just like, whatever. The first time when she was like hemorrhaging,
Yeah.
another thing though, that was like super like jolting to me. Like she gets up, she goes to the refrigerator, and then you see like blood, and then it like goes back to the chair, and it's like covered in blood. That was very jarring to me.
Yeah.
So didn't like that. Didn't love that. I mean, obviously I didn't love it for appropriate reasons, but
Yeah.
it was kind of scary. I was like, Jesus, this just took a turn. Speaking of what the fuck moments, what is your most ridiculous moment?
The fact that the dude at the Sentinel didn't see him take the lead story.
Yeah, it's like,
he was
oh, give me that
obviously, reaching over still whenever he turned around too, and I was like, you're not gonna ask like what that was about?
Yeah, that was it. They didn't time that very well.
No,
not very well at all. I thought the fight, obviously, I think the fight scene is a little bit of a ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
How about the beginning of the movie with the kids coming upon the murder scene, and then like what in your first instinct is to bend down and go pick up the gun?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, that's so dumb.
I was just
obviously that's the last thing to do.
And I think they already established that there were like racial tensions and stuff in the city or whatever. And like, if these kids happen upon this, they see two murdered white guys, and it says Whitey on their car. Those kids need to run immediately.
Oh, you can't. That's a racial slur.
Yeah, sorry. Take me, cancel me. I cancel me. I don't care. But that pissed me off so bad.
Yeah, he just puts his fingerprints all over the
just
thing.
Like, here it is.
Yeah. Hey, look.
They just like hung out way too long for my liking.
Oh yeah.
I was like, even if I saw a dead body, I'd be like, no, I'm running.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything else that stuck out to you that was ridiculous?
I mean, no, I think we covered it all.
Cool. Best music moment or score recognition.
I'm not a big music guy, not great at it. That's just not me. But whenever I saw Randy Newman's name like on the opening credits, I was like, Randy Newman did this music? Hell yeah. Like, I know it'd be pretty solid, and I'm not good at that music stuff, but it was pretty good to me.
Yeah, it's at the end of it's not that great of a song. It's actually kind of a terrible song, to be honest with you. I'm just being honest. Like,
fair enough. I didn't listen to the end.
No, it was not good. I did. I listened to the end on purpose, and I did not like it at all. It was rough. So yeah, didn't love it.
It wasn't You Got a Friend in Me.
It was no, You Got a Friend in Me. And like Randy Newman's really great. I love Randy Newman. Like, he's got that song in Major League that I really like. But like we were saying, I think a song is more impactful when it's in the actual movie? Okay, we've got an answer. The "To Your Wife" is Michael Keaton to
Oh,
the
okay.
cop saying he's trying to get a quote from. You'd say, "Fuck you to your
Okay.
wife." What would you say?
Thank you for
Yeah, I
that.
remember it now. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for figuring that out. All right, smash or pass or fuck, marry, kill. We're gonna bring back fuck, marry, kill. Let's put fuck, marry, kills in the chat, please, please, please. We haven't done this in a while, so I'm very excited to bring this back. Okay, and I think I know what your answers are gonna be, but we're
Let's
gonna
see.
go with Alicia, Martha, and Janet.
Is Janet? Who's Janet?
Janet is his assistant.
Hold on. I'm gonna have to Google real quick just to make sure I
Martha
know
is
what
his
I'm
wife,
voting on. I
and
know.
Alicia is his boss. I love seeing all the FMKs. It's so good. If Twitch ever catches on, they'll probably cancel it. Are you frozen again? He is. God. Are you frozen? Are you fucking with me? You're
Nah,
fucking with me.
this is what I get for trying to Google something. I apologize. My internet is still shit. Apparently, it's had better days. So let me look. I'm looking right now on my phone. It's on 5G. So you said what's her name?
Alicia, Martha, and Janet.
Janet. There's Janet. Oh, it's unfortunate. Because I had a different one, which I'll give to you after this.
Okay.
So I think, I might change it then. I'm going to change this. I think I'm going to F Janet.
Okay.
I'm going to marry Marty, and I'm killing Alicia. What? Isn't that her name?
Martha, yeah.
They call her Marty, though. Am I tripping?
know.
Oh, okay. What about you? Would you do it the same?
Yeah, that's probably what I would do.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'd switch Janet and Martha. Maybe I'd
Fair
marry
enough.
Janet. She
Yeah.
seems kind. Alicia, though, she's gonna cheat on you. She's already cheating on her husband, so
Alicia sucks, dude.
she comes around.
Eh.
She will not be ignored, Dan.
One nice act doesn't no. So
She's the chief, from Carmen Sandiego. Yeah.
What I actually had was I had the same with Alicia and Martha, but then I also had Catherine O'Hara instead.
Oh no, I think I'd kill Catherine O'Hara.
Would you? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I had F Catherine O'Hara, and I still killed Alicia.
I don't know what it is about Catherine O'Hara. Like, even as like the mom in Home Alone, I don't love her.
Yeah.
Like, she's just kind of too tightly wound for me, and I don't know. I didn't really love her in this movie. So I think Alicia would move to my fuck, and then Catherine O'Hara would move to kill. Yeah.
Okay.
Marty would be my Mary.
What I'm about to drop a new one on you though.
Yeah,
so,
I love this.
This is a double FMK, if you will.
Yeah, they're triple.
Yeah. Let's see. So I've got McDougal, Henry, and Bernie.
Ugh. Man, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. Bernie's been married several times. Henry is getting to be the next Bernie. And McDougal has a gun on him. So I'm trying to think about this. I think I marry Henry. I think I kill Bernie, and I think I'm going with.
That's what I had too.
Yeah,
that's exactly
I think I'm fucking McDougal because he's got
Bernie's
a gun, and that's scary.
Bernie's just a little intimidating, dude. Robert Duvall. I don't
His
think I
hair
could
is
face it.
wild in this movie, by the way. Like I know he's like fully embraced that he's bald on top, but he's got the horseshoe thing. Like I don't like the growing it out, and like he's at a weird stage with the growing it out too. It's like too long. He needed it a little bit closer to the. It's like a skullet at that point.
Maybe that was the style for news
Maybe
editors.
I
back
mean
then.
95. Yeah, it was very wispy. It was very wispy. I did not love it.
My wife has vowed to not let mine get like that.
Are you balding? Are you gonna bald?
No, I'm just saying, if I get wispy, I have to cut it.
Yeah, wispy is not great. I always worried about that with my facial hair. I was like, if it's too wispy, and I'm got to get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, mine's always been wispy, but here we are.
Here we are. Look at us. All right, who gave the best
Who would've
performance?
thought? Robert Duvall is who I had. I just really enjoyed his character, his line delivery. I thought he was really good at being kind of the hard ass, but also with deep personal problems.
I think I might surprise you with this one. I'm going with Glenn Close.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
she sucks, but like, I think she's doing it so freaking well. She's good, man. And
Oh,
like,
no.
even one of my fun facts, like, is
Glenn
about
Close
like
sucks.
is about Michael Keaton being like, whoa, she's like going way harder
Yeah,
than I am
true.
going.
Fair
And
enough. Yeah.
like, she is a force to be reckoned with. So I go with Glenn Close followed by Michael Keaton, but I think Glenn Close was really nailing it there. Did you talk about how that part was written as a man and they changed no dialogue when they cast a woman? I did not know that.
Well,
That's
I knew the part was written as a man and they cast a woman. I didn't know they didn't change the dialogue though.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
wild.
is the skin part still a part of it? Is that a woman that's saying it's called skin?
It's dude, that line
Or maybe they
shouldn't be
just
that
flipped
funny.
it. Who knows? I don't know. No, I think Glenn Close nailed it. I love Glenn Close. I think she is.
Nah,
I think she's so good, man.
she's the Sheen of Meryl Streep.
I agree. I've always felt that way about her. I've always felt like she is in Meryl Streep's shadow.
Yeah.
And has always been. I think she's been almost as nominated as Meryl Streep too, except no wins. She hasn't won a single Oscar every time that she. So I don't know.
She was just Glenn Close.
She was Glenn Close. I love that. That was good. You're funny. You're very funny.
Thank you.
If you had to do a 94 recast for this, who would you do?
I suck so hard at these. This is just, I think a lot of this has to do with recent conversations and just stuff. But for Henry, I went John Turturro.
Okay. You love you some John Turturro.
I do. For
Do you
Bernie,
think he's your favorite actor?
He's probably more of like a hidden gem.
An uncut gem?
An uncut gem. Maybe not favorite. For some reason, I've always really liked Don Cheadle. I can't even explain why. I just have. But I don't know. John Turturro might be up there. Him, Steve Buscemi, Don Cheadle. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of good ones. Can't say favorite, For Bernie, I went with Stanley Tucci. And for Martha, I said Winona Ryder.
Okay.
And then for Alicia, I put Uma Thurman.
You didn't even put Meryl Streep. I thought you would put Meryl Streep in that role.
Nah.
That's what I did.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. I only cast Henry and Alicia for some reason. But I was trying to think of actors during that time. I was like, could Denzel be Henry?
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like Denzel would have been. I don't know. I did see Denzel's name when I was trying to figure out, and I don't know if I could see him as a news guy.
Yeah, that was my trouble with it too. And then I had Jeff Goldblum.
Oh yeah, he's a news guy.
I think he gives off that like Michael Keaton energy.
Yeah.
a lot. And then I thought about like I don't know if you ever watched the television show Newsroom that was on
Mhm.
HBO, but Jeff Daniels' character, and maybe Jeff Daniels during this time could have done that because Jeff Daniels is a little bit like preachy in the Newsroom, and I think he could have. It
I
probably
could
wouldn't have gotten to that point in this
I
one.
could buy him as a news guy
Yeah.
easy. Yeah.
Did you do any 2024 casting?
I did more than I should have. For some reason, I put two people as each one. Um, and some of these don't make any sense. So sorry. We got I put three on this one. Jesus. For Henry, I put one of these three. Ki Hui one,
Oh yeah,
Tyler James Williams from Abbott
from
Elementary, Everybody Hates
yeah.
Chris, or Donald Glover.
Okay, I think I like Donald Glover the best out of those.
I thought about deleting the other ones because when I was like, yeah, that's the one. And
I
then
want to
for
see Ki Hui Kwan in a lot more stuff though,
oh,
and
me
I love
too.
that guy from Abbott Elementary. He's
Yeah,
great.
I think I would like to see Ki Hui one in like everything because I
Yeah.
don't know, he's adorable. For Bernie, I put either Colin Farrell or Robert Downey Jr., which I thought that was kind of a cop out. Robert Downey Jr.
Mine's a cop. I
But
picked Michael Keaton
oh,
for
for real?
Bernie.
Damn, that's a good idea.
No, but I love Robert Downey. And I think he's been in Zodiac as
Yeah,
his
that's what I was
experience
thinking
in
as
there.
well.
No, I love that.
For Martha and the ages, I don't know if the ages really line up for like if Martha would have been with like the Henry actors that I chose or anything, but whatever. I put either Carla Cugino
Hmm.
or Rosario Dawson.
I tried. I was like, man, I feel like I put Rosario Dawson in everything.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But no, I think I do it.
And then for Alicia, I've got Anya Taylor-Joy or Hannah Waddingham.
Hannah Waddingham. What do I? Oh,
From
Hannah
Ted
Waddingham.
Lasso.
That's great. Yeah, that's a good Alicia. She gives me
I
such
thought
Alicia
so
vibes.
too.
Maybe
Yeah.
the from Game of Thrones, the lady that plays Cersei, she would give good
Yeah.
Alicia vibes too.
Oh, good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I had Jason Sudeikis as Henry.
Okay.
Anna Kendrick as Martha. Kerry Washington as Alicia.
Ooh, she would make a really good Alicia.
Yeah, and then I put Michael Keaton as Bernie because it's my cop out answer.
That was that's a good lineup. I like that.
No, I sometimes I'm just like, yeah, who would be fun in this role? And that's what Alicia was the one I think I was the most proud of. I was like, Kerry Washington would kill.
Oh, yeah. Like I feel like her Scandal character is just like spot on.
Yes, it's the exact same thing. So she would nail it. But I think one thing to talk about with this too, and I already mentioned at the beginning, is like, again, there are so many small parts in this that this would be such a fun movie to cast, and just throw in some of your like favorite 30-something, 20-something actors in this, and just in the background roles. Also, I feel like this movie runs as a play for 90% of it.
I could see
especially everything that's in the newsroom area, even when they're at the pressing, and stuff like that. I do feel like it's such a play movie, and I love play, like that play within a movie thing. So I don't know. I think it'd be really fun. This could be a cool thing to put on a stage too, and figure that out. You could take out
that
all
would
the
be cool.
other shit.
Yeah, I would like that.
All right, fun facts.
Well, do you have a lot?
I have 5, I think, or 4.
Okay, I think I've got 4 as well. So we'll just switch off because I'm sure they're the same. My first one is that Paul Newman, no relation to Randy, turned down the role of Bernie.
But we just saw Paul Newman in Hudsucker Proxy. That's probably what he's working on, you know?
Who was he? I would Google it, but we know what'll happen.
Oh, God, yeah. Don't want you. He was like the bad guy in Hudsucker Proxy.
Oh, okay.
the office where the sun is supposed to be is actually, I don't know how they swung this, but they got an empty office space around Wall Street with a huge corner spot where they could see where they were able to film parts of Manhattan and Brooklyn and the Manhattan bridges in the distance. So to make it look like there was actually they were actually operating from there. So I thought that was kind
how
of
was
cool.
nobody there?
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird that they were able to get an empty office space, but whatever.
Huh.
With a huge corner thing, like
Yeah.
that's crazy. What do you got?
This one's kind of long, so bear with me. Many people in the press state that this film was and still is the greatest representation of what actually goes on in newspaper offices all over the world. Director Ron Howard and co-writer David Koepp are still amazed at the impact of the film, despite the fact that at the time of the filming, printing presses was starting to dwindle down due to financial issues and some newspapers going under, that in fact did. But also, as you mentioned earlier, co-screenwriter Stephen Koepp was on this too and had experience in the world of journalism as editor-in-chief of Time magazine.
Yeah. They did a lot of research on this too. They both started out in journalism, those brothers, and they actually got to hang out at the Daily News and the Post. And some of the things that were said while they were doing their research ended up in the movie. So just to make it more accurate, I guess.
I've got that this is the only film that director Ron Howard has not seen since he directed it, which has now been 30 years. So
yeah.
The reason is not because he hates the film, it's because he still feels like it's the perfect film.
Yeah. That's
Which
crazy.
Is crazy. You directed this and you haven't even seen the whole
Because
cut?
Apollo 13 is a perfect film. I don't know if it's a perfect film, but I like Apollo 13 way better than I like this movie. Maybe I just love space more. Ron Howard's first choice to play Henry was Tom Hanks, and he was already working on Forrest Gump, so they had Michael Keaton jumped at the chance to play this. And actually, I felt like Michael Keaton was better in this role than I think Tom Hanks would have been. Tom Hanks would have been an interesting choice, but I
think Keaton is better in this than Tom Hanks was in Forrest Gump. Nah, you were shaking your head. I already saw it.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. What else you got? I got one more. Do you freeze again? You frozen bitch. I'll go ahead and say mine. The fight between Michael Keaton and Glenn Close was completely rehearsed before Ron Howard started filming it for real. And Keaton told Howard that she's really kicking my butt. And Howard told Close to tone it down a bit since they both had really gotten into a fight. So he is struggling, my guys. We'll see if we can't get him back in here. How about now?
I'm back.
Stop Googling stuff.
Dude, I wasn't, but it was really funny because you stopped right whenever I said that he was better than Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump, and your face was just priceless.
No, get out of here. I said my last one, which was about the fight between Michael Keaton and Glenn Close.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you have anything else.
The only thing I had was that there were a couple of small Batman logo cameos.
Oh, yeah, I did read about that. That's pretty cool.
That's about it.
Cute little cameo for Michael Keaton.
Just a little something.
Just a little something. I'd rather have a cheeseburger. Like a fine wine and dish, if you could pair this movie with another movie for a double feature, what would you choose? He froze again. Frozen 2. This is Frozen 3. 3.0. I love him to death. I do. I hate his internet, though. I hate his internet so much. See if we can't just force him back in here. Nope, he's still frozen. That's okay. I'll go through my list and then we'll awkwardly say, there he is.
How do I get off this one?
Oh, do you want me to? I can do this, and then I'll do this. Okay, how about now? Oh, Jesus criminy. This has gone to, this is a train
All
wreck
right,
now.
fine.
That's okay. All right, movies that you would pair with this. We're almost done.
So sorry. I put, well, all these are kind of cop outs, but I've got Spotlight, which we've already talked about. Well, we've already talked about both about Spotlight and Zodiac. And then also I've got All the President's Men.
Okay. Yeah, I wrote down 8 movies because there's so many just newspaper movies that you could put in here. The Post, we already talked about. Spotlight, but I also threw in Network, and I think you've actually seen Network, and you actually really like Network. I think Network's great. Broadcast News, as another movie. Morning Glory. I have Fletch playing in the background here. It's a newspaper movie. If you want it to a little bit more fun of a newspaper movie. And then I picked Ace in the Hole, which these are my 2 older movies. Ace in the Hole, starring, gosh, now I thought Douglas, Kirk Douglas, and then
Michael?
Not Michael, Kirk Douglas. So this is an old movie. And then what this movie I think is a little bit based on is a 1931 film called The Front Page, which is like a screwball comedy film. But again, very, very old movie that this is slightly based on. So just wanted to say, pull that one out there too. So if people are interested in watching things alongside the paper or the paper-esque films, where to look. So, all right, Spencer, now we've gotten down to it. If you could give this film a rewatchability rating of 1 to 5, what would you give it?
A 3.
A 3?
Yeah.
3, thank you. I gave it a 3 as well. It's not something that I'm like eager to get back to, but I don't know, I love a newspaper movie, so I get sucked back in. So
yeah, that's kind of me.
There. Yeah. Overall star rating?
I gave it a 3.5. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It wasn't, anything that blew me away, but it was a good, kind of a good capture of the newsroom, and also a good story. I thought it could do, I don't know, maybe a little bit more. And I will, in fact, that was what I wrote for UA and all that. I thought I would have liked there to have been a little bit more about the crime. I understand it wasn't, totally about that, but for some reason that would have been a nice little facet of them to bring in.
I think that's why I gave it a 3. Is because I wrote it in my review on Letterboxd, and I was just like, you either take out those scenes and like it's just a background thing, and you don't ever show me those kids at all, because they gave me like 3 scenes with these kids, and I'm supposed to feel for them, and then it's like again, the newsroom is not on their side, but they're more eager to be right than they are to help these kids get out of jail. So either put more in, like you're saying, or leave it out completely.
Yeah, 100%.
And then I also
they could have talked about it. Like, I think you're right. I think they could have if they would have just said, "Hey, here's the story. Here's what's happening," without showing them. I think you're right. I think they could have captured it easily doing that.
Yeah. So yeah, I gave it a 3, and then also that last like 20 minutes and stuff didn't really stick with me like I think they wanted it to, with the pregnancy and all that stuff. I just felt like, I don't know, it took away from the story to me, and I just didn't love it. I don't know. It was kind of a mess, in my opinion, but subjective. That's what this is all about. But Spencer, thank you for doing this with me. Always a pleasure. I'm glad that you are watching all these movies alongside me, and I love when we get to talk about them. But anything that you've watched recently that you want to tell people to check out?
Just 2 things. One, I've got one more episode, but I'm almost all done with Dairy Girls. And I would recommend that, especially after watching like In the Name of the Father last year, because they do have a little bit of that same, IRA conflict in that series. So I thought it was cool to kind of at least have a little bit of background going into that. And then the only other thing that I watched was a series on Netflix called Supercell. So I thought it was really good, unique. I'm not usually a big superhero, superpower show or movie kind of guy, but this one was pretty cool.
Okay, check those out. Yeah. I have seen that Supercell, and I've been wanting to watch Derry Girls even before you've recommended, but I do want to watch that. I've really just been watching stuff I've already seen a lot of. I'm going through my Coen Brothers stuff. I'm 3 into watching all of those back through. I think my next one's Barton Fink, which is one I've actually not seen, so I'm looking forward to that one. But if any of you have not seen Miller's Crossing, please figure out how to watch it, because I think that movie is so freaking good. Like,
What's it on?
everybody's so good. Nothing. Nothing.
No.
However you get your movies, and choose to get your movies. That's what I would recommend, or just rent it from Amazon or whatever. But I think every actor in that movie is so good. The only person that's not doing great is Gabriel Byrne. He's the main character, but honestly, he's killing it. And the only reason he's not killing it is because he's an Irish guy, and his accent kind of goes in and out from time to time. So that's what I would say. Miller's Crossing, definitely everybody go see it. It's great. And then I watched all the Back to the Futures last week. So Back to the Future, you hate Back to the Future? Get out of here. All right. Spencer, thank you so much for doing this. Next week, we're going to be talking about a Spike Lee joint. That's how I have to refer to them. It's called Crooklyn, and currently it is streaming on Stars if you have that, or if you haven't used your 7-day free trial, you can go ahead and use that on Stars, however you want to do that, or you can buy it on VOD. So do check that out, and we'll talk about that next Sunday, I believe. I think we're good for next Sunday. Yeah. We're good for next Sunday. We'll talk about that next week, and I hope to see every single one of you there. If you're interested, follow us on all of our socials, get into our Discord channel, and talk to us there. We'd love to get more people involved. So thanks, everybody, and I hope you have a good rest of your weekend and a good week this week. Sorry, Spencer's internet is the worst. He's pretty much frozen right now. I'd rather have a cheeseburger, man.